I have to say, Venice looks really nice in Assassin's Creed. Counter move. Darn it, Ezio.
What you doing, Harry?
I'm playing Assassin's Creed 2. It's about the Renaissance.
Don't you want to learn more about it?
I mean, I've gone through the readings, but it's mostly about fighting, so... Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Renaissance Game Show. The winner of the game show will receive 100 on the project. Question 1. What political purpose did Italian art serve during the 15th century?
I'm sorry.
Italy was not a united country, and each prince or family that governed a town chose to display their power through art. Each work and building served to show the magnificence of the patrons.
Question 2. Research a piece of art from the following regions: Venice, Rome, Tuscany. Tuscany has very good Italian food. Explain the characteristics shown and how it relates to the regional differences described in the introductory slide.
Venice valued color above all. Florentine valued craftsmanship. Rome valued the papal and princely patronage.
What is it meant when one is referred to as a Renaissance man? Research 1, Renaissance artist, as you have, and explain how he represents a true Renaissance man.
The Renaissance artist was an all-around artist, frequently a painter, goldsmith, sculptor, architect, theorist, and poet. A scholar as well, using rules of perspective and experimenting. Like Michelangelo, who blended physiological insight, physical realism, and intensity, he used more specific and scientific details into his art. He wrote numerous poems as well as over 300 sonnets and madrigals.
Question 4. How does Giotto St. Francis of Assisi receiving the stigmata show the attempt at depicting space? How is this different from medieval art? We've reviewed this a lot.
Giotto's St. Francis of Assisi receiving the stigmate shows space and perspective with a mountain in the background. You can tell it's far away because of the decreasing size of the trees as you go up. In medieval art, they lacked that, and they were not thinking that the background was important.
Question 5. How does the coronation of the Virgin show perspective?
The coronation of the Virgin shows perspective in regards to the people. It has people surrounding the center stage, the middle, the back, the front, and in the center the king and queen. This shows depth because it has all angles of people, and not just the king and queen. Rafael, please stop stroking my hat. This shows depth because I'll repeat, stop. This shows depth because it has all angles of people, and not just the king and queen, and not just the surrounding people. By including all three sides, it gives perspective, and it gives each person's side of the story.
Question 6. How does the Battle of St. Romano illustrate movement? Romano, that sounds like some good cheese.
The Battle of San Romano shows movement in regards to the men on horseback. In the photograph, several men are pictured on horseback, cavalry. In what looks like they're going to battle. The movement comes from all parts of the picture, as the men are portrayed to be getting ready to attack and potentially march.
7. How does Saint Sebastian illustrate a revival of Hellenistic values?
Saint Sebastian illustrates Hellenistic values in regards to the man who seems very battered and fading. In Hellenistic values, they focus much more on the details and realism, besides statues, as opposed to the perfection and idealism like the Hellenic world. Raphael, please stop. The man on the statue is beaten with arrows through his body, and he is bloody, which shows less care for protection and beauty and more for the realistic facts.
Question 8. What does the allegory of the liberal arts reveal about humanism in the late 1400s?
The allegory of the liberal arts reveals good things about humanism in the late 1400s. In the work of art, it portrays a bunch of women from the time period communicating and talking, as opposed to doing their own individual thing. This shows how humanism was important and how women had to be on each other's side at all times.
Question 9. What might the medieval church disapprove of the Sigmato, Pandolfo Malatesta, and the portrait of a man known as Il Condottiero?
See the god Dionysus in the artist's rendering.
Wrong. The man, Sigmato Malatesta, was a couturier and a captain of the church. He was a very successful man who prided in his military successes. This made Pope Pius II jealous of him. In 1460, he was excommunicated. Because of his struggles with the papacy, he earned a ridiculous reputation for cruelty and paganism, which would obviously mean that the picture was not popular with the church. Research the concept of sfumato. Explain. This was on your test.
They focus much more on the details and realism, the side statues, as opposed to the perfection and ideal.
Wrong. Sfumato, as stated on the test as question 13, I'm almost positive, was one of the 4 standard painting techniques of the Renaissance. In Latin, this part of the word translates to fumare, which means to smoke, as I would with my pastrami. Sfumato means that there are no harsh outlines present. Regions blend into each other through minuscule brushstrokes, which make for a somewhat cloudy, yet more realistic portrayal of light and color. Question 11. How does Vinci Saint John the Baptist illustrate this technique, as I stated in the past question?
Shows space and perspective with a mountain in the background.
Wrong. The painting is a bit dark, but still realistic. The background isn't vibrant, but the body reflects the true color, and the colors are a bit hazy as they fuse with each other. Nothing about the painting is aggressive. It's a sfumato painting, which is detailed but not overpowering. Question 12. In your opinion, what is the mystery behind the Mona Lisa? Research the arguments surrounding this masterpiece and develop your own opinion.
He contributed to the dissolution of the Western Church.
Wrong. Mona Lisa is debated if she is a happy or sad person. Her smile is a mystery. And question 13. How does Castiglione's book, as well of his portrait, painted by Rafael, portray Renaissance ideals?
Castiglione wrote was about court life. It was called The Courtier. It was not bitter, rather than the work that has a interesting undercut of sadness. Instead of analyzing the struggle for power, Castiglione portrayed an idealized Urbino, creating an imaginary set of conversations conducted by several friends in Urbino's court.
Question 14. Research the history of the Medici family. How did they influence Renaissance culture?
The Medici family are most famous for their patronage of the arts. They would pay artists commissions for major works of art. The Medici family had a huge impact on the Renaissance, allowing artists to focus on their work without having to worry about money or things like that.
Question 15. Who is Pope Leo X, and why did he have Saint Michael slaying the devil painted?
Leo X, or Leo X as some people like to call him, one of the leading Renaissance popes, reigned from 1513 to 1521. Do not touch the beard, I will kill you. I will slay you out.
I'm just helping.
He made Rome a cultural center and a political power, but he depleted. Don't touch me! Don't touch me!
Go.
He contributed to the dissolution of the Western Church.
Question 16. What does Saint Michael slaying the devil really portray?
In the Catholic tradition, Saint Michael usually represented the victory of the good over the evil, and he has been widely represented in Catholic art through the ages. Devotions to Saint Michael has a large Catholic following, and a number of churches are dedicated to him all over the world today.
Question 17. How does the pastoral concert portray humanism and Renaissance culture?
So, for the pastoral concert, it portrays humanism because you see three people gathered around in pretty much Renaissance attire, and so there is a woman in the background playing a lute. You also see the god Dionysus in the artist's rendition, and in the Renaissance, Greco and Roman culture reemerged and basically influenced humanism. The idea that one can better themselves with without the church. So,
Without the church.
Without the church.
Amen.
Hey, let's go.
Question 18. Explain the symbolism used in the wedding feast at Cana.
Cana. So, the wedding feast at Cana portrays symbolism because you see Christ is centered at the middle of the table. It is basically after a wedding, and it also shows the artistic renditions of the Renaissance, the way people would paint in the Renaissance, the perspective, the more colors. Instead of two-dimensional, it's more three-dimensional. And it also shows that there is still a respect for the church and God and the artists and for artists from artists through their paintings.
Question 19. What does the wedding feast at Cana and the beautiful Nano reveal about Venetian society? You may need to do a little research on this one.
And then the beautiful Nani and the wedding feast at Cana both portray Venetian society. It shows that they are concerned with moving it along and advancing in the Renaissance by, bettering themselves without the secular, without church, through secular, education. They also value the church still through their paintings and through, how they, through paintings and through, portraying Christ in their pictures.
And last but not least, question 20. Look up Michelangelo's Last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel and compare it to the correlation of the Virgin. Why can it be said that Tintoretto drew his inspiration from Michelangelo's painting?
Michelangelo's the coronation of the Virgin in the Sistine Chapel, and Titorino's the coronation of the Virgin are both similar.
The coronation of the Virgin, amen.
Okay, all right, Leo, you can calm down now.
Okay.
So the coronation of the Virgin and I have to get it again because my works are obviously better.
I beg to differ.
The Last
Rafael.
Judgment. Michelangelo's Last Judgment and Titorino's The Coronation of the Virgin are both similar because renderings of the heavens. And in the middle you see a religious figure. At the top, in the centerpiece of clouds, surrounded by angels and other religious figures. So you could basically say Titorino drew his his inspiration from Michelangelo's the Last Judgment.
So, Harry, you learned anything?
A little, but I have to say, I need Miss Celli to teach me it.
Suit yourself. Rafael, you want to fight?
No, because I'm trying to give an interview right now. So, do you want to just hold your, horses, sir? Alright, so, basically, they're both similar because they both are artistic.
I don't have an answer for this one.
Harry, shut your face.
Good. That was good, eh?
Are you still filming?
Team. Who is Pope Leo X?
It's Leo the 10th, not Leo X.
Just go, hurry. Venice, they value color above all.
Stop, why are you laughing so hard?
The Medici family are not most famous artist. Sorry.
Good one. So, we see the symbolism in the wedding feast at Cana. Wait, is it Cana or Canto? Please take this out. Yeah.
No, but you're not. That's the funny part
That's
of
the
it.
funny
Well, how is that funny?
It's funny because you didn't learn.
It's hilarious.
I have something to say. When we are when we have
That's our goal.